And thank you for joining me tonight. I'm Hawkeye. This is Maple Leafs Man Advantage. And my next video now, I'm going to talk about the 1978 NHL Playoffs. Now, this one's a big one. Got a few pages to go through here, because this is the year the Leafs actually went on a bit of a run here. It's been since 1967 that they've done that in winning the Cup. And in addition to that, there were a number of games I was able to see. Certainly wasn't alive at that time, but able to get copies of those games and see them again. So I'm going to talk about those particular games. So I'm going to cut this video into parts. I'm thinking 4, because I do not want to crank out like a 2-hour video for anybody. Try and cut the length of these videos down a bit. So I'm going to cut them into parts, so each round be its own part. So there you go. So as well, if you like this video, I appreciate to hit like or hit the thumbs up. I would definitely appreciate it again, or as well if you subscribe. I got 25 subscribers now. That's excellent. Not many, but that's great. I got 25 of them. And if you want to comment on anything, maybe you saw some of these games at the time, that would be awesome. Get your opinion on things, that'd be great. So we jump into the 1978 NHL playoffs. The Leafs ended up with 92 points, and it was called the preliminary round. That's better. Preliminary round, which was the opening round. But all the winners of each division got a bye into the quarterfinal, the next round. But in this particular opening round, the Leafs were going to face off against the Los Angeles Kings. The first time they ever face off in the playoffs. And the Kings ended up with 77 points. So that means the Leafs even have home ice advantage. That is something the Leafs are not used to at this point in the playoffs. And I'm not sure if it's happened since 1967. I don't think they had the home ice even in that entire playoff. But it's been a very long time, I think, for the Leafs. And they get it right here in this opening round. Now, for the Kings, taking a look at them, they have 4 20 goal scorers. They had Mike Murphy with 20, Dave Taylor with 22, the Hall of Famer Marcel Dion, he had 36, and Butch Goring led the squad with 37, still in LA at this point. Goring also won the Lady Byng, so don't expect many penalty minutes from this guy. Dion led the team with 79 points. He played 70 games. And Bert Wilson from Orangeville, Ontario, was a guy to look out for on the ice for the Kings. Rogie Vachon would likely get most of the time in the net here. He ended up playing 70 games. He had 20, somewhere in the 20s with the wins, maybe 26. It didn't print out properly, sorry. 13 ties, 4 shutouts, and a 2.87 goals against average. Now, remember this opening round is the best of 3, so you only need to win 2 games, so you don't got time to mess around. You better start playing, or you could be gone early. So I was able to catch this opening game from the NHL Network with Dan Pollard as the host. It was a hockey night in Canada from CBC Broadcast with Bill Hewitt and Brian McFarlane as the commentators. So in net for the Leafs was Mike Palmateer, and every Leaf fan is hoping that he's able to stay healthy for a nice, good, long playoff run here. In net for the Kings, yep, you got it. It's Rogie Vachon, who's in the Hall of Fame now, and Roger Nielsen coaches the Leafs, while ex-Leaf Ron Stewart coaches the Kings. And as the game starts, hits may be present in the series as bodies are thrown early. I come to learn it as part of the Leafs game plan as they deliver checks very well, with some very good forechecking as well going on. Lanny McDonald fires one into the net, but Bruce Hood, the referee, waves it off. due to Dan Maloney being in the crease. On the replay, you can see Maloney is actually behind Vachon. Yeah, he's definitely in the crease. Now, I'm not 100% sure when this new rule came to the NHL. I'm thinking it's a new rule at this time. When the game starts back up, you cannot keep the Leafs back, though. As Stan Weir pops one in behind Vachon as he comes in all alone at the right of the net. Weir looks like he has a black eye and a beauty cut under his eye, just looking like he's ready for the playoffs. Here we go. When you get a good close look at him. The game is what I remember playoff hockey should be like this. Very intense, lots of hitting, and the action is dialed up. And not much room out there offensively back in the day. You could hook and hold, and there literally is not much room. There was a lot less room back then than there is today, where you can't do that stuff. So there's a lot of room out there now. But room can be gathered up through hard work or tired defenders, right? It's game one, so these defenders may not be quite so tired. So you might have to wait till perhaps the second round before guys get tired, but really tired. So there you go. By my eye, the Leafs appear to be ready for the playoffs. They're looking good here. Jerry Butler is sent in alone on a great pass from Jimmy Jones. He scores on the break, giving the Leafs a 2-0 lead. After when the Leafs should be feeling good as they're doing what they should be doing, are playing at a high level and controlling the puck and play. In the second period, Solomon is bringing the puck out of the zone, but he's taken out by Bruce Hood, the referee, giving the Kings an opportunity in the Leafs zone. Nice hit, Hood. Problem is, you're the referee. Then on the replay, we see Dan Maloney firing a beautiful elbow into Tommy Williams' nose. He then throws a hook around the player's neck. Hey, that's Dan Maloney. That's how he played. He definitely played like that. He was definitely an aggressive player, no doubt about it. To me, that is really playing with fire, though. When you're up by 2 goals, you don't need to do this. You don't need to give the Kings a great opportunity to get on the scoreboard here, but nothing happens from that. Later on, Maloney, he fights Glenn Goldup. Leafs then go up by 3 as Tiger Williams comes into the zone on the left wing. The puck starts bouncing like a tennis ball as he approaches the net, but shows some good hands as he pops the bouncing puck past Vachon, making it 3-0. Things are not getting called now as Williams hooks Bob Murdoch to the ice, gets control of the puck behind the net, passes out front, and Salming throws it in to the empty net. Emotions start getting even more riled up now as Murdoch and Williams fight. I gotta say, I would be angry as well if I was Murdoch and that's what happened. I'd be pretty angry too, probably. Now, Vachon jumped in on the fight and threw a punch at Williams. Oh boy, things are getting out of control here. And I gotta say, wait a minute, isn't that the third man in? Like that used to be. I remember in the 90s, you would get kicked out of the game for stuff like that. It happened on a few occasions with the Leafs. But Hood lets that one completely slide and no additional penalties are given. At the end of 2, the Leafs are up 4-0 to the Kings. They got control of this one pretty good. So in the third, Ron Ellis looked great coming out of the corner with the puck and went directly to the net. But Vachon was able to prevent the goal. But the puck squeaked loose and George Ferguson came in and shot it in the net. It's 5-0 Toronto now. I must say for the Kings, I haven't noticed Marcel Dion, and that is a huge problem for them. He is your superstar. Ferguson comes whipping down the ice. Vachon kicks out the save, but it went right back to Ferguson, and he buries a rebound in for his second of the night. It is now 6-0 for Toronto. LA finally gets on the board from Old Leaf Pete Stemkowski, who bangs one in from in front of the net. Right after that, George Ferguson comes in alone and tucks one behind Vachon. That's a hat trick for George Ferguson. And it may be his lone hat trick that he ever had as a Leaf. Perfect time to do it. Game 1 of the playoffs. Excellent job there. 7-1 for the Leafs. At the time, Ferguson tied a record for scoring 3 goals in the same period. Since then, though, Tim Kerr in 1985 for the Philadelphia Flyers and Mario Lemieux in the 1989 playoffs for the Pittsburgh Penguins, they both went on to score 4 in one period. That's incredible. LA gets another goal, and it was a little weird one as Daryl Edestrand, fires one from the point. Palmatier was screened, and the puck went in. Hey, those are tough ones for goalies when you screen them. That's why it's always good to get somebody in front of the net. Another weird one with less than a minute left as Goldup fired one at the net, and it bounced up over Palmatier's shoulder for a week when that went in past him. But the Leafs finish up the game 7-3. I'm not too worried there. And the score was a little tighter than the game played out, really. LA was finally able to get on the board there after they were down 6-0. So there you go. So it appears that Nielsen has a plan, and Leafs went by, and it looked like the better team in the opener. I must say the Leafs also seem to be okay in starting some of the dirty play. They got guys in their lineup that'll do that, like Maloney, like Williams, just to name a couple. They're not afraid to mix it up or get a penalty. Williams, notorious for getting a penalty, but also taking somebody with him to the box. He was good at that. Let's say teams like the Boston Bruins or the Philadelphia Flyers, who the Leafs, I think, are trying to build themselves after, did that. And were very successful in performing that way in the past, in the 70s. It seemed to be successful to the Leafs here, meaning that Maloney appears to have been pretty important to his club in bringing this out on the ice. So Toronto heads to LA, and people are thinking this may be the last game of the season for the Kings because they were beat so soundly in Game 1. For the Kings, they need to control the puck better, along with letting their star, Marcel Dion, do something with the puck. Without these two elements, the Kings may have a tough time beating the Leafs, as they just the Leafs are just out muscling the Kings to the puck here. That's what I noticed. Prior to the game that I was able to view, which was also a hockey night in Canada, Dave Hodge, the host, according to him, Dion, Butch Goring, and Sil Apps, all three of them had one shot between them in Game 1. It was Dion that had it. Looking at Dion's career, this man at one time, absolutely, he'd be proclaimed as the best in the league, or was on an extremely short list of guys that you would think would be the best in the league at one time. In the late 70s, yeah. Maybe give it another year, or two, yeah, he definitely would. He gets Charlie Simmer later on his line. I think that's the following year, and him, Dion, Simmer, and Taylor, they work out really well together as a line there. But in his career, he had 731 goals, 1,771 points in 1,348 games. Excellent numbers there, well above a point a game. In the playoffs, though, it was a totally different story. He had 21 goals, 45 points in 49 games. That's going from 1.3 points per game to 0.9 points per game. That may not seem like a lot, but it is. When you start adding the games all up together, that's a lot of goals that the team's not getting, or you're not quite as successful in the playoffs. And personally, I compare this to the likes of Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, John Tavares of the Leafs. Marner's now gone, but these guys really haven't performed up to the same level they do in the regular season. And the best players do that in the playoffs. Just got to say that. And unfortunately, Dion never did. I don't think he even played in the semifinal once. So, and it's unfortunate because he was an absolute Hall of Famer. Tons of goals this man scored, but he just wasn't quite as successful in the playoffs. So, Bill Hewitt and Brian McFarland will be doing the commentating for this game, Game 2. And as well in the nets, it's the usual suspects, Michael Palmateer for the Leafs and Rogie Vachon for the Kings. I'm not sure if the Great Western form is like the ACC or Scotiabank Place, I think they call it now, where the suits are eating sushi or having a prime rib sandwich before the game. But the seats look half empty. Or did the people in LA at the time need a team with promise to show up for? Was it, they're going to lose, let's not go? I don't know. I'm not sure. With the Kings, it's weird. I never liked their home uniforms at this time, but I really like the road unis. Just the colors. Anyways, the Kings start the game a little better than Game 1. So that's a step in the right direction here for the Kings. But that feeling doesn't last long as the Leafs get it in deep in the Kings zone with control. And Stan Weir, who played very well in Game 1, I thought, gets a chance in front. Right off the draw. Man, the Leafs are looking like the Montreal Canadiens here, which is excellent. As Darryl Sittler wins the draw, and Ronnie Ellis pumps it at the net to give the Leafs a 1-0 lead. The puck is almost thrown like a knuckleball when it goes in. Tiger Williams then gets a beautiful chance as he runs the puck to the net, and the puck hits the post, and then the puck slides under Vachon for him to bury it. Boy, does that ever look like the Kings are in trouble here. Which is kind of crazy to me because the Kings do have some quality players to this team that can be turned into something. Like Dion, who I've talked about. Goring, Vachon, as well as Mike Murphy and Dave Taylor. My guess is Nielsen has got these boys ready and knows their strengths and the Kings' weaknesses. The Kings, though, are starting to get in the game better defensively. At least as they are starting to land some good checks on the Leafs who have the puck. They're down by only 1 here, even though it seems like it could be like a 3-0 game. I give the LA crowd credit as they are not a quiet crowd here, so they do show up and they show up with their voices. Something that doesn't always happen in Toronto, that is for sure. They like to cheer in LA, that's excellent. The Leafs get a goal waved off as Pat Boutet is behind Vachon, much like Maloney was in Game 1. Boutet and Dave Taylor then get into a fight. There's a lot of fighting going on here. Vachon was more than happy to punch Boutet in the back. Vachon is getting into these fights here. I don't know if that was normal for him or not. It is in this series. I didn't see a whole lot of Vachon. I haven't. Leafs get the extra 2 on Boutet for roughing. The Leafs are able to kill it off, though, so that's good. Right off the draw, the Leafs hammer in another goal. This time it's Lanny McDonald who drifts a little into the shot and puts the Leafs up by 2 now. Late in the period off the draw, 3rd time now, Boreas Salming shoots one at the net, and Jimmy Jones steps in, pops in the rebound, and puts the Leafs up 3-0. We're still in the first period. Must say that I feel Vachon didn't play as bad as they may have been saying he did in Game 1. I didn't feel that, but I feel that he was left hanging on the line here by his defense and the guys playing in front of him. But he also didn't play well. I'm not going to accuse him of that. And his rebound control is terrible here. They're really popping in these rebounds. I understand you cannot control every rebound you give out, but his rebounds seem to be directed right to the Leafs when they're coming out, and they just are hammering them in the net. So after the first, the Leafs are up 3-0 here in Game 2. In the first intermission, Dave Hodge talks with Dave Taylor, and I give Taylor credit for talking to Hodge as their team has not looked good, and he has to be sort of pulled to the carpet here to talk about their problems in LA. Brian McFarland then had a report on the LA area. We follow Silaps, his beautiful wife, and young child as they climb into their boat or their car and drive to the beach. Yes, it was the 70s, when vehicles were miles long. He there talks about playing hockey in LA, and his father played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Silaps. Dave Hodge then talks to Lou Nan about the game and how the Leafs were beating the Kings. Nan was the GM of the Minnesota North Stars at the time and the coach of the North Stars. So there you go. In the second period, McFarland mentions that the following day the Jays will have their season opener against the Detroit Tigers in just their second season in Major League Baseball. I love it when the organ player in the Kings rink started playing Benny and the Jets by Elton John. That must have been a new song at the time. The Leafs have slowed the game down and are playing a more defensive brand of hockey. You're up 3-0. There's still 2 periods to play, but hey, they may have enough goals here. They're going with the defensive style. Butch Goring's helmet looks like it's made out of paper mache. He had one ugly lid, man, but it was distinctive. There was none other like it. If you haven't seen it, go take a look. Butch Goring's helmet. I think he wore the same one like in his whole career. It was distinctive. But the Leafs coast in the end of the period with a 3-0 lead. Very defensive style hockey here in the second period. In the second intermission, the late, great Johnny Wayne from Wayne and Schuster, which was a show I remember on CBC, I think. He had a special where he showed a greatest hits album. Get it? Greatest hits. Where you get a free set of teeth. There you go. Lou Nan talks with Dave Hodge about the next draft. He's glowing over Bobby Smith. I wonder if he'll draft him. He feels he's the guy they're going to draft, as well as the next coach he will hire to step in behind the bench for the North Stars. So he's not planning on coaching them next year. He's going to stay in as general manager. They end up getting Glenn Sonmore for the next season. And yeah, they do draft Smith as well. In the third is playing out much like the second, or in other words, like every other period in this series so far. The Leafs are out muscling them, out skating, outplaying the Kings, who are seeming to look a little lost out there. Organ guy plays Benny and the Jets again. Still love it. The game continues and chances are had on either side, but the Leafs have slowed the game down. That's what you could do at one time, was slow the game down. Almost to a screeching halt at times. But that works completely for the Leafs. It doesn't matter. They got the 3-0 lead here. In their own zone, they are using the boards to get the puck out. Never fire the puck up the middle of the ice. Or even if the players have it, he's going up the boards with the puck. Not up the middle of the ice. That's something I feel you do not see anymore. Guys love to fire the puck up the middle of the ice or go up the middle of the ice. And whatever, that's fire wagon hockey, I guess. But that's how they play now, where at one time it was go up the boards, rattle the puck up around the glass. Don't get playing with that puck in front of your own net. No, they, good defensive teams did not do that. I really do wish hockey was played like that now. Some people find that boring. I don't. I find that to be actually smart hockey, defensive hockey. But sorry, defensive hockey can be boring to some people. But hey, you got the lead. Play defensive hockey. I think that's a better way to go. They had some technical difficulties on the CBC, but when it returns, they show a replay of Darryl Sittler scoring to put the Leafs up 4-0 now, and it was also on the power play. Now this was 1978. Being down 4 goals with somewhere around 5 minutes left in the game was guaranteed the game was over. Even being down by three to start the third was going to be a very difficult task to even tie it up. The game coast to a 4-0 win for the Leafs, while the King fans boo. They're not pleased with what they saw tonight. After the game, Hodge talks to Jimmy Jones, who did a great job in checking Dion in these 2 games and keeping him completely off the score sheet. There's also a lot of talk in the game that Ron Stewart may, in fact, lose his job. He does, and he's replaced by Bob Barry for the following season. In turn, Barry, in the 3 seasons she coached the Kings, was also never able to get out of the first round, meaning Ron Stewart was likely not the problem as to why the Kings couldn't get out of the first round here. I just had to write this down. Does that sound like Sheldon Keefe to anyone? Maybe. The Leafs are currently looking pretty bad, and Sheldon Keefe is long gone. A lot of times it's not the coach's problem or the reason. Sometimes it can be, but anyways, moving on. The Leafs have swept the Kings in a short 2-game series and are off to the second round. I will see it here. The Leafs have not looked this good since 1967. Woo! They look like a team to watch out for in the playoffs and made the Kings look so bad. Personally, I think it is because of Nielsen. He had a system. He, as I was saying, knew the strengths and the weaknesses of the Kings. And he was able to, I think, come up with a game plan to take advantage of those things. And he also had very talented players on the team like Sittler, Solomon, Palmateer, McDonald, just to name a few there. And they were able to perform the task that was asked of them. So that's it. That's the end of part 1. The Leafs are on to the second round. So my next video, I'll get into the second round, and it'll be a very good series. But yes, so here we go. On to the next video we go.